All right, so you want to know the best places to find deals on silver and gold? Well, you're in luck. Today, we're diving deep into a YouTube video from, let's see, February 11th, 2025.
Okay.
It's by Louie Silver.
Okay.
And Louie breaks down, some market moves and
Yeah.
gives some really good tips on getting those precious metals at a bargain.
Yeah, it's really interesting. He starts right off by talking about a sell-off that happened that day.
Yeah.
Gold dropped 13 to 2,894 cents, and silver was down 158 cents, landing at $31.43.
Wow.
And he attributes this to a couple of things. New tariffs on steel and aluminum.
Okay.
And then, of course, the escalating tensions in the Hamas war.
So, wow. Global events are really shaking things up. It makes you wonder how these things are all connected, right?
Absolutely. Louis points out that these kinds of events create uncertainty in the market, and that often leads to a sell-off as some investors get nervous. But he seems to think that this dip could be a buying opportunity.
So that's pretty optimistic. So what kind of deals did he find amidst all this, chaos?
Well, he found a few. Over at bullion exchanges, a single gram of gold was going for $93.
That's not bad, especially if you're starting out and you just want to, get a feel for owning gold.
Exactly. He also mentioned a 110-ounce gold eagle for $318.
Okay. But how do those prices compare to the actual value of the gold itself?
Well, that's where the spot price comes into play.
Right.
Think of it like the base price of the metal at any given time.
Hmm.
But when you buy gold in the form of coins or bars, you're usually paying a little extra on top of that spot price, and that's what we call the premium.
Interesting. So it's not just about the gold itself, it's about the form it comes into.
Exactly.
And I'm guessing those premiums can vary quite a bit.
They can. Premiums depend on a lot of factors, like the dealer you're buying from, the specific coin or bar you're looking at, even its rarity or popularity.
Makes sense. Now, I noticed that Louis was really pushing silver in this video. He highlighted deals on Silver Eagles, Maples, Britannias, Kookaburras, and Philharmonics. It's like a world tour of silver coins.
It is. And it's interesting you pick up on that because he's actually hinting at a key investing strategy: diversification.
Okay.
So by spreading your investment across different types of silver coins or bars, you're essentially managing risk.
So don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Okay, that's smart. But then he starts talking about this fractional gold and why it might be a good time to buy smaller units of gold now. Why is that?
Well, it's all about the premiums. If gold prices keep climbing, the premiums on those smaller units could go up too.
Okay.
So by buying fractional gold now, you're essentially locking in a lower premium, which could pay off later.
That's like getting in early before things get more expensive. Clever. But then he jumps to something completely different. Junk. Silver. Why on earth would anyone want to buy junk anything?
Right. Well, don't let the name fool you. Okay.
Junk silver refers to pre-1965 U.S. silver coins. They're called junk because they're usually not in pristine collector condition.
Right.
But they still contain a good amount of actual silver, and Louis even mentions some specific places where you can find good deals on them.
So it's like finding hidden treasure, silver, that's been overlooked because of its condition. But how can you be sure you're not getting ripped off with fake coins?
That's a crucial point. With junk silver, you really need to know what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Learning how to spot fake coins and understanding how grading works is really important.
Yeah.
A reputable coin dealer can be a great resource for that.
Okay, so expertise is key here. But then Louis dives into reselling strategies, specifically using those 25-gram Pamp Suisse bars from Costco as an example. What's the thought process behind that?
Well, he's talking about understanding buy and sell spreads, essentially how to buy low and sell high.
Okay.
To make a profit reselling, you need to buy at a good price and find someone willing to pay more than you spent, all while factoring in any fees or shipping costs. It's like a little side hustle with precious metals. Okay, this is all fascinating stuff, but I'm curious to hear what Louis found on eBay. So Louis seems to be a big fan of eBay for finding precious metal deals. Is that a good strategy?
Yeah.
I always thought eBay was kind of risky for that sort of thing.
Well, Louis definitely has some tips for navigating eBay safely and finding those bargains.
Okay.
He says using a cashback credit card can really boost your savings.
I guess every little bit helps when you're dealing with something as valuable as gold and silver. But how do you avoid getting scammed or ending up with fake stuff?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question. It's like anything else online. You've got to be cautious.
Right?
Look for reputable sellers with lots of positive feedback,
Mhm.
and watch out for deals that seem way too good to be true. Louis seems to have a knack for sniffing out those legitimate deals,
Yeah.
but he stresses that doing your homework is key.
So eBay's a potential gold mine, but you have to tread carefully. Got it.
Yeah.
Now, I noticed that Louis mentioned something called the gold-silver ratio, the GSR, and he seemed pretty excited about it.
Right.
Can you break that down for me?
Yeah, so the GSR basically tells you how many ounces of silver you need to buy 1 ounce of gold.
Okay.
It's a way to compare their relative values.
Mm-hmm.
And Louis pointed out that the GSR was quite high at the time of this video,
High,
meaning that it took more ounces of silver to buy 1 ounce of gold than usual.
Okay.
Historically, this ratio has fluctuated, but when it gets really high, some people see it as a signal that silver might be undervalued compared to gold.
So if you believe in silver's long-term potential,
Yeah.
a high GSR could be a chance to load up, right?
Yeah.
Buy low, sell high, that whole thing.
Exactly. That's the idea. Of course, like any market indicator, the GSR is just one piece of the puzzle. It's not a crystal ball.
Right.
But it can be a useful tool for understanding the relationship between gold and silver.
Got it. So Louis is suggesting keeping an eye on the GSR as a potential buying signal for silver. But let's circle back to some of those other strategies he mentioned, like fractional gold and junk silver. What are your thoughts on those?
Well, Louis' point about fractional gold is especially relevant now with gold prices on the rise.
Right.
If you believe gold is going higher, locking in those lower premiums on those smaller units could be a savvy move.
Yeah.
It's like buying in bulk, but for gold.
Get those discounts while you can.
Mhm.
What about junk silver? Is it really worth considering, or is it just, well, junk?
Haha, it's definitely worth considering. Remember, junk silver is just pre-1965 U.S. silver coins.
Right.
They might not be collector's items,
Yeah.
but they contain real silver.
Yeah.
And it's a way to get exposure to silver without paying those higher premiums that are often associated with bullion coins.
So you're paying more for the silver itself and less for the shiny collectible aspect.
Exactly.
I like it. But you mentioned earlier that expertise is key with junk silver. How can someone who's new to this get up to speed?
Finding a reputable coin dealer is a great first step. They can teach you about grading, how to spot fakes, and where to find good deals.
Right.
There's also lots of online resources and forums where you can connect with experienced collectors and investors.
Okay, so there's a whole community out there ready to share their knowledge. Awesome. Louis also talked about reselling strategies, and he gave the example of those Pam Suisse bars from Costco.
Right.
What's the key to success there?
It all boils down to understanding those buy and sell spreads.
Yeah.
You need to buy those bars at a price that allows you to resell them for a profit after factoring in any fees or shipping costs.
Sounds like a little bit of an art form, knowing when to buy and when to sell. Any tips for mastering that?
Well, Louis didn't go into specifics on timing the market,
Right.
but he did emphasize the importance of finding products that are in demand.
Okay.
Those Pam Suisse bars, for example, seem to be popular among buyers. That's a good sign.
So do your research, find those in-demand items, and make sure the numbers work in your favor. It's starting to feel like a real precious metals pro here.
That's the spirit. And remember, continuous learning is key in this journey.
Yeah.
There's always more to discover.
Well, on that note, let's wrap up this part of our deep dive. We've uncovered some great eBay strategies, deciphered the mysteries of the GSR, and revisited the world of fractional gold and junk silver. We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive with Louis.
We have.
What really stands out to me is that he doesn't just tell you what deals to go after.
Right.
He actually explains why.
I agree, yeah. He wants people to understand the forces at play in the market, not just blindly follow his recommendations.
Yeah, like when he talked about that sell-off being a potential buying opportunity, he didn't just throw that out there.
Right.
He connected it to those tariffs. And the situation with the Hamas war
Right.
really helps you see the bigger picture.
Absolutely. And he even encourages his viewers to challenge his opinions, which I think is really important. Take his stance on silver, for example.
Right.
He's clearly bullish on it, especially with that high gold-silver ratio.
Yeah.
But, he doesn't shy away from acknowledging other factors could come into play.
It's like he's saying, hey, here's what I think, but don't take my word for it. Do your own research and come to your own conclusions.
Exactly. He's empowering his audience to become informed investors, not just followers.
Okay, so big takeaways from Louis. Understand the market, think critically, and do your research. Now, let's shift gears for a minute and play a little game I like to call Hidden Gems. There are always these little nuggets of wisdom tucked away in Louie's videos that might not be the main focus, but are still super insightful. You ready to dig for some treasure?
I'm always up for a treasure hunt.
Okay. Here's one that caught my eye. Louis briefly mentioned something called the Fear and Greed Index,
Hmm.
and he said it was back in neutral territory. What is that all about?
Ugh, the Fear and Greed Index. It's a fascinating psychological indicator that tries to gauge overall market sentiment.
Right.
When fear is high, investors tend to sell, which can drive prices down.
Mm-hmm.
And on the flip side, when greed takes over, you see a lot of buying, which can push prices up.
So neutral reading means things are kind of balanced.
Exactly. It suggests a more stable market environment, at least from a psychological perspective.
Okay.
And Louis dropping that little tidbit in there just shows how tuned in he is to those subtle market dynamics.
Okay, here's another gem I found. Louis mentioned using a Capital One eBay kicker deal to save money on tools and supplies.
Right.
What's the deal with that?
Sounds like Louis is a savvy shopper. He's probably referring to a credit card rewards program or a special promotion that gives you extra cash back or discounts on eBay purchases.
It's a good reminder that those little perks and savings can really add up, especially when you're dealing with valuable items like precious metals.
Absolutely. It's all about maximizing your purchasing power. Okay, my turn to unearth a hidden gem. Did you notice how Louis recommended using a food saver to store precious metals?
A food saver, like the ones you use to vacuum seal food.
That's the one. It might seem a bit unconventional,
Yeah.
but it's actually a smart storage strategy.
Okay.
Vacuum sealing your precious metals can help prevent tarnishing and protect them from the elements. It's a simple way to preserve their condition and value over time.
That's a great tip. I'll have to add food saver to my precious metals shopping list.
Okay.
Last one for me. Louis briefly touched upon diversifying into collectibles like Rolex watches. Why would he bring that up in a video about precious metals?
I think he's hinting at the broader concept of portfolio diversification.
Okay.
It's not just about what types of precious metals you own, but also about how you spread your investments across different asset classes.
Right.
Collectibles, if chosen wisely, can potentially appreciate in value over time and act as a hedge against inflation, similar to precious metals.
So it's all about not putting all your eggs in one basket, whether that basket is filled with gold, silver, or even Rolex watches.
Exactly.
Good reminder that there are many paths to building a well-rounded portfolio. Well, I think we've unearthed enough hidden gems for one episode. We've analyzed market trends, explored buying strategies, and even delved into the psychology of investing. But before we wrap up, I want to leave our listeners with a few thought-provoking questions to ponder as they continue their precious metals journey.
I love it. Let's get them thinking.
Okay, first question. Louis seems pretty convinced that silver is poised for a major price move. Based on everything we've discussed, what are the factors that could support or challenge that belief?
That's a great question. It encourages the listener to weigh the evidence, consider different perspectives, and form their own conclusions about silver's future prospects.
Here's another one. Louis mentioned something called playing the GSR by simultaneously shorting gold and going long silver. What are the potential risks and rewards of such a strategy? And is it suitable for all investors?
Yeah, that's getting into more advanced trading territory.
Right.
It's important for the listener to understand that shorting involves a high level of risk and requires specialized knowledge. It's definitely not a strategy for beginners or those with a low risk tolerance.
And one final question. Louis emphasizes the importance of learning from experienced investors and seeking out reliable sources of information. What are some practical steps our listener can take to expand their knowledge and build a network of trusted advisors in the precious metals community?
That's a fantastic question to end on. It empowers the listener to take action, seek out mentorship, and really immerse themselves in the world of precious metals investing.
Yeah.
They could start by exploring online forums, attending coin shows, or even connecting with local coin dealers.
And that brings our deep dive with Louis to a close. We've covered a lot of ground, from market trends and buying strategies to the gold-silver ratio, and even some hidden gems tucked away in his insights.
Remember, knowledge is power in the world of precious metals. Stay curious, do your research, and never be afraid to ask questions.
Happy treasure hunting.